just in from the governor's office. Governor Sisolak has submitted a formal request to President Trump for a major disaster declaration for the state of Nevada. If approved, the declaration will provide additional federal assistance and emergency protective measures available under the nationwide emergency proclamation. This disaster declaration request includes requests for public assistance funding and the full suite of individual assistance programs, including, but not limited to, disaster unemployment assistance, disaster legal services, crisis counseling and training programs, and mass care and emergency assistance to help support residents in need during this unprecedented crisis. So we have that breaking. We have confirmed death toll now of 31 directly related to COVID in the state, and we are seeing statewide cases, 5 cases. It's getting out of the metros now. You got 143 confirmed cases and 3 deaths in Washoe, and we've got 961 cases and 28 deaths in Clark. We have 5 confirmed cases in Humboldt, 5 confirmed cases in Elko, although 2 have recovered. Just the single case here in White Pine County, but 5 cases in Nye, 6 cases in Douglas. Let's see, where's that? Carson City. Now 8 confirmed cases in Carson. So now we're looking at 1,279 right now. That according to the Nevada Independent, who seems to be ahead of the state in reporting this stuff. And in and amongst all this is Ely Mayor Nathan Robertson, who's had a nice, quiet morning.
Just quiet as can be.
It is a rugged time for any public administrator, and as he continues to get information, breaking information on his phone. We've talked about the governor's stuff today, which is really weird. As you pointed out, there are contradictions in it. One thing I wanted to ask you is the governor's office extended legal proceedings and extensions, and we talked about this earlier, extending time for licenses and permits. How would that affect the city? I mean, is the city going to follow this lead, and anything that ends, that is during this period that might expire, is that going to be extended, or are we not going to enforce that? Do you understand my question? Because I don't quite understand it. Do you follow what I'm asking?
Well, the city doesn't have a lot of licensing. We do business licensing and pet licensing and things like that. City licenses are due the same time every year in June, so that shouldn't affect that too much. Pet licensing, if your pet license expires, if your dog license expires, obviously if you couldn't get into City Hall to renew that until May, there won't be any problems with that. The big issue statewide, that people are probably looking at are things like their vehicle registration, their driver's license. If you have a small business, your business license and things like that that could be due during this time, and that's all been extended, and I think that's the right way to do that. As far as the governor's order today, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, so the language usually confuses me most of the time, but what people need to understand is that the effect here is nothing different. We're still doing the same thing, they've just lengthened that out.
Basically, stay at home unless you need to go out. Mm-hmm. Or, the funny thing, and I mentioned this in our conversation that will air tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock with White Pine County School Superintendent Adam Young. I have seen something that I have never seen before, and I've been out here for years. And I'm seeing more people walking out here. They're walking on Georgetown Ranch Road.
I've seen a lot of people out walking around. It's out here and all over the place. Just because I'm sure they're going a little stir crazy and needing to, help their mental health and physical health as well. Doing some of that stuff certainly helps me if I get out and walk around some. So.
Well, Dr. Jeffrey Willis, who is on with us every week.
Yeah.
One of the things he said is that people need to get out and get the vitamin D.
Yeah.
To help boost their immune system.
And it is a beautiful day out there.
It's a beautiful day. We got a lousy weekend coming up, it looks like. But a beautiful day. Get out and enjoy it. Absorb the vitamin D. Get your vitamin C. Build your immune system. That really, apart from, when we talk about the social distancing and all this, is building your immune system and keeping it solid is one of the only defenses you've really got.
Well, you need to do what you can. And in conjunction with that, on this stay-at-home order that the governor put out today, on Section 6, it says, this directive does not prohibit individuals from engaging in outdoor activity, including, without limitation, activities such as hiking, walking, or running, so long as the activity complies with all requirements of the previous emergency directives.
Which is basically the social distancing and,
Stay 6 feet apart from somebody else and don't go out with people who aren't, that you live with. And
we just have to be careful, and that's all there is to it. And I find the people who, even here in White Pine County, that are dissing this. You got 32 people that died so far, and look at the explosive nature of this. That unless we do something to just basically, stay away, what can you do?
Quite frankly, like we've talked about before, I'm not an infectious disease expert, and none of these people who are armchair quarterbacking this are infectious disease experts.
Isn't that amazing?
So we just need to be doing what those people who are the experts are asking us and telling us and ordering us in some cases to do.
And trying to make it political will get you no favors. If you try to make it political and deny it, and you end up dying, you're wrong.
Well, you're wrong either way, and what good is it if you were wrong or right if you're dead?
I mean,
that matters very little at that point.
My boss put it this way: if you believe in God and there is no God, no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't believe in God and there is a dog, then you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean that there's no other good way to put it. Better to be overabundance of caution than an underabundance.
Right, and it's I think our community certainly deserves a pat on the back for that. I was on the phone with a reporter from the LA Times who had been through last night, and she was remarking how everybody seemed to be doing a really, genuine job of trying to comply with all the orders and stuff. She says it's not like that down here in LA for sure. She says you see people out in groups and doing things all the time, and up there in Ely, you guys seem to be doing what you need to be doing, and she was really impressed with our community in that respect, and I have been too. I mean, people for the most part have been cooperative and willing and anxious to comply with the directives and doing what they can, and I've been really appreciative of that. That makes this a lot easier than it would be otherwise.
Yeah, the people make me crazy who try to make this as a government plot and a government conspiracy, and they're out there all the time. And folks, we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to make it through, and what else are you going to do?
And there's been a lot about medications and things from the governor's office and malaria drugs and whatnot. This isn't really the time to go out and start self-medicating. The things that do work, the things we know work, are the social distance.
Stay at home.
Wash your hands.
Stay clean. Wash your hands.
Don't touch your face.
Yeah.
Don't go out in groups. Stay away from people. Don't go out unless you have to. Those things.
This was not a conspiracy. This was a test of the emergency alert system. So don't freak out, anybody. The governor did not issue we don't have a federal takeover here. I love me a good conspiracy theory as much as anybody, but the people who are trying to make this about a government takeover, it's just nuts. You don't have time for a government takeover.
No, I certainly don't.
I don't think any of our politicians have time for a government takeover.
I'm probably about ready to start my own recall petition here at some point.
What, recalling yourself?
Recalling myself, yeah. So I can go home, but no, it's we've got some very simple orders here that we've been asked to comply with, and I think for the most part we're all doing that, and that's what we need to keep doing. We've got that extended now until the end of April, so I have to restart the clock that I had on my little laptop there, on the deadline, so now we're back up to 30 days. But
the folks have to restart the clock up at Mount Wheeler Power.
They will. I saw that on the little
billboard
scrolling
there.
marquee
Yeah,
there,
they got to fix that. But by and large, and a lot of people don't understand. For me, this is just a little more than normal. Where do I go? I go from here to get me something to eat. And I never dine in. I never have time to dine in, and I'll go to Ridley's and buy some bananas and stuff. It's like today. I got a loaf of bread in here. I may grab a peanut butter sandwich. That's about all I get to eat in the middle of the day.
Hey, it's not bad.
But I mean that's it. I mean I nobody brings me food. Nobody. I mean we got to make a little light of this. But seriously, folks, stay home. We'll deal with this. Anything new from the city proper?
No. Like the executive order that went out yesterday was just reinforcing that any directives that come from the governor's office will be enforced.
And it basically,
we just got one after that, so that.
Yeah, and it basically, the order that the governor put out duplicates what you said. Because in your order, it was extending everything to the end of the month following the president's guidelines.
Yeah, doing as much as we can there. And we'll just, like I'm sure the Superintendent Young talked about and we'll talk about, we just have to roll with the punches as things change and develop. We'll make adjustments, and we'll all get to the end of this at some point.
Okay, a brief roadmap of what's going on. We will go to the president here sometime after 2 o'clock to hear what he has to say. The governor will be speaking at 5 o'clock tonight. You can hear the governor here on the Nevada Talk Network. Knock wood. We don't even have feed information, but I'm sure I'll be able to catch us a feed to make sure that you get to hear what the governor has to say tonight. And hopefully no more earthquakes. Hopefully things will be calm. Did you know the governor was speaking tonight? Did you know that?
I figured he was speaking at some point today.
Yeah,
so
5 o'clock
5
tonight.
5 o'clock seems to be his MO.
And we'll have it here on the Nevada. Well, that way he can preempt all the newscasts that criticize him. You see.
It's before the news at 6.
It's exactly. Yeah. Preempts the early news. So we'll have that on for you here. And tomorrow morning we will have on White Pine County School Superintendent Adam Young to talk about how his staff is dealing with all this and the craziness and all that. And
well, and there was the travel advisory from last night. That came out.
The travel advisory, which makes no sense. I mean, I understand it theoretically, but it makes no sense. Who's going to come to Nevada on a week's vacation and then quarantine themselves for 14 days?
Well, hopefully nobody.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, and there's no place for them to stay anyway. So,
but that's it bears repeating, just in case you had plans to travel out of town or out of state. More likely that would come into play there. Any non-essential travel that you can postpone or put off. It would be wise of you to do so. Yeah,
echoing what the president and his people are saying.
Absolutely.
Who are not conspiracy theorists. Folks, we just need to get through this. And be thankful that we only have 32 deaths in the state of Nevada. Because if we hadn't headed this off relatively early, it could have been 320 or more.
Well, and
this virus is explosive in nature from what we've seen.
And we're fortunate that we don't live in a large metropolitan area like New York or LA.
Absolutely.
I mean, it certainly spreads slower out in rural states like Nevada, where we're sparsely populated, and that's a good thing.
There you go.
We'll talk that up in the win column.
Ely Mayor Nathan Robertson, who is a small businessman and who is a part-time cashier at Ridley's in the mornings. So seniors, go see the mayor. He'll be up there running his cash register in the morning.
In the morning, from 6 to 7. So, I don't. It may go badly, but just have patience with me. I'll do my best. Have
patience. So we need to put a sticker on him that says "Cashier in Training."
That's right.
Okay, we will roll on here. 12:51, where Nevada comes to talk, and we'll talk.